Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of Straight Talk with Kareem Bowen. I'm so glad to have the opportunity to be with you all today. What's going on to my people in the village? We outside on today. This weather is absolutely amazing, but you know, we got to start this thing off the right way. If you're watching via social media, you're learning that there's somebody else over there peekaboo in the stream with me. That is my brother from another mother, Hurley, quote unquote, TJ Coleman the third. Welcome to Straight Talk, Hurley. How you doing, sir?
Man, I'm good to be here, man. I'm glad to be here. Thank you for
Man,
having me on the
it's
show.
I am glad to have you here, Hurley.
Yes, sir.
You know, Hurley and I didn't realize how much I liked you. I thought I liked your dad. But I think, Bishop, I'm sorry, I got a new best friend. He's my new bestie. We've had an opportunity to connect and really get to know each other over the past couple of years. And so I think it's exciting to be able to have you here. And the reason that you're here today, for those of you who are listening via social media, those who are listening on our FM dial at 107.1 FM, I have him here because I heard my brother giving a passionate plea and sharing some information as it relates to what is happening with the budgeting as we begin to look at balancing or coming up with a budget that will be passed. We know that we haven't had one in some time because the Republicans that were in office decided to not vote on the budget that Biden put forth so that Trump could have the opportunity to put together a budget of his own liking. So they did a CR, a continual resolution, which meant that they just put some stuff together to keep things running. So all of the things that were in the budget, I was impacted by that budget not being passed on last year. So now there is a new administration in, and just beyond 100 days of that administration, we're going to talk about the impact of what has happened, what is looming, and this new skinny budget that they're purporting to put forth. That number 47 has come up with. But before we do that, you know, we gotta first pay tribute to all of those women out there,
Yes.
those mothers. Our first heartbeat, our first love. We're their heartbeat, but they're our first love. Someone said, TJ, that every man wants a woman like his mother. And so we want to say Happy Mother's Day to
Happy
all of you
Mother's Day,
mothers that
Mama.
are out there. I'm gonna give you your chance. This is my shot to my mother, Geraldine, aka Sparkle Walker, Bowen. Many of you may know the Bowen name, but she is my mom, and I certainly appreciate her. Growing up, she was absolutely amazing. My mother and I we had a very interesting relationship. It was us, she and I against the world. That was my ride or die. And I certainly thank you, Mom, for all that you have done, all that you have been. You have been an inspiration. You have been, as Bette Midler would say, the wind beneath my wings. So we thank you. We appreciate you. Both me and my brother, I think I can speak on behalf of my younger brother, for just all of the sacrifices that you made so that we would have opportunities to soar. Many times you've given up your dreams and your shot to make sure that you would make a pathway and a runway for us to be able to have a shot. So I thank you for everything that you've done, everything that you are, and what you are to me is you are so beautiful. I'm not going to sing today, but I just want to say Happy Mother's Day to you. We celebrate you today. And so I'm going to give my brother, go ahead, TJ, give a shout out to mom and wifey and all of those good things on this Mother's Day.
All right, so I'm gonna start with Mom. I'm gonna love you, Mom. Happy Mother's Day to you. I am because of you. All the nights you just try to pray over me so I can make it, and I'm honored that we are able to honor you. And to my baby mama for raising our children. I love you, Tan. You are a credible mother. You are a great mom. You are just the difference maker in the kids. The kids are amazing because of you, and every investment that you put into them, every sacrifice that you've made has been because of them. And they are your pride and joy. You are the mama bear, and you do not play about yours. But I honor you and I appreciate you. And you hope you are having a fantastic Mother's Day.
Happy birthday, sister, from this mister right here, right? She also celebrated a birthday
She
recently.
did. Happy birthday. She did.
What
So
number was it?
that was number. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if I should tell her.
Well, she put it all over
She
social
did.
media.
Yeah, 45. So 45.
Happy birthday,
Yeah,
ladies.
45.
Amen. So you wear it well, though, so that's
Yeah.
always good.
Yep.
So we are here today, and I hope that you're tuning in, and whether you're, as I said before, on our FM dial or you're tuning in to kisswtlz.com. When you go to the main page, you can push listen now and you can hear this current show. But on there, you can also find previous shows because they're creating podcasts of these shows so that you can go back and listen to one of those that you have missed and catch it up in its entirety. Or you can catch us across any of these social media platforms. We are really on every platform from here to Instagram to all of these other places. So tune in, like Shag Tear, like Shag Tear. Don't shag, but share. Like, share, and tag this conversation with others that are out there. And we're thank you for listening in while you're celebrating your mother. Hopefully, by the time that you hear this show, it will be about 6 o'clock in the evening, and your mom has already felt special. If you're really doing your job, you've done so 364 days before this. But today is just extra special. But before we get into our conversation on today, I want to talk with my brother Hurley. Just about, we have a new pope, and you and I both come from the largest African American Pentecostal denomination in the world, which is the Church of God in Christ, born and raised. He a little bit more Kojic than I am, unapologetically. So we understand the system of bishops and the hierarchy of how people are and the process by which we get leadership. Have you been able to watch any of what has been taking place with the demise of our previous pope and this period of time in between, and now the selection of this new pope? Have you been able to see any of that, take any of that in?
I did, actually.
So what were your thoughts? Because come on, y'all know we ain't some of this stuff. I was like, this was straight out of the book of Game of Thrones or something.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything that looked like it.
So in order for me to understand it, like, I had to go back and watch the movie. So I went back and watched Conclave.
Are you serious?
I went back, it's on Amazon, and I went back and watched Amazon Prime and I watched Conclave. And when I watched Conclave and I understood the process of what it was going to take to elect the new pope, I was like, wow, this is so fascinating. Because born and raised Kojic, and because my father is a national leader, there are oftentimes conversations and things that happen behind the scenes that people don't see.
Absolutely.
And so I was able to look at that movie and see what was happening behind the scenes that people don't see. And it made sense. It's fascinating because I do like church polity. And that's one of my things. I do enjoy the church polity side of it. And so
do you really?
I do.
Oh, I hate it. I
do.
But go ahead.
I'm wired like that. I don't know why. But it was fascinating to see. And I was more so fascinated that 133 cardinals from all over the world voted for
that was interesting.
An American to be the pope.
So that's a great conversation I think that we should have, because we see something that is literally very historic. We have lived and have seen the changing of the guard as it relates to the papacy, but never have we seen an American be selected as the leader of the Catholic Church, which is quite interesting, because when I was listening to all of the historians in this process, when they were sending up the plume of smoke, if it was black smoke, they didn't have a pope. If it was white smoke, then a pope has been selected. And they were asking the question, hey, there is a Chicago pope that has been talked about. And they're like, we don't think that the world is ready for that kind of movement to have an American at this time, especially with number 47 in the White House doing what he is doing to really, push the boundaries of relationships globally. So I, too, was quite surprised when the American was selected to be the head of the Catholic Church. So this is a phenomenal moment in terms of how we see things. But I want to ask this question, because I think there's some dynamism to this. Um, when you look at what number 45, 47 did with the image, did you see the TikTok image or
I
Instagram
did.
image? What were your thoughts about that?
My first thought was, what else are you going to do to disrespect people? What other things are you going to do to disrespect people at a time where people are mourning? If you're Catholic, then you're mourning the leader. And you know that the conclave is coming, but there's a mourning period. But to do it in the middle of that mourning period, and to then act like it was a joke, like and that you didn't do it, but somebody else did it. I'm like,
On
come
your account.
on your account. I'm like, come on. I was offended for them.
And I was, and so I thought that that would be one of the things that would solidify that there would not be an American Pope. Like, hey,
Me too.
the climate is not correct, and there is a fear that I have. I shouldn't say a fear. There's a concern that exists for me, having an American Pope with a president who has been able to stir up a very nasty side to what I would call white evangelicals, and this white Christian nationalism thing that is taking place to run our government. The fact that one of the leaders of one of the major denominations, billions of individuals, 1 billion individuals following, also happens to be American.
Right.
Is there anything in there that gives you pause as it relates to these things happening in sync with this new administration, with this new push for Christian nationalism, which is, in other terms, it boils down to white supremacy?
Yeah.
Is there anything that gives you pause in that conversation?
I think it if it does anything, it encourages me that the Cardinals that selected him see something beyond what America is presenting.
I thank you for allowing a different perspective.
And I'm praying. I mean, I'm really hopefully praying that this man, who is a Chicago native, who has spent so many years in the country at our American schools, at our American college like Villanova, but has spent the same more time around the world,
globally,
and has built a global resume and respect and rapport with people on in every level, and Cardinals on every level, that he will help to at least unify and bring some things to a standard that it should be, that will represent our country well and represent the world well for that.
When I think about the issues that America has with race, one of the things I think is necessary is that we have a very limited perspective, and we see America in the moment, but we don't. It's a very young nation, but we don't have a global perspective because everything is centered around. It is American centric, and we are at the center of our own universe,
right?
And so I do enjoy the perspectives that we have and how it changes us when we are able to build a global perspective and see things differently.
Right.
So thank you for providing a different perspective, because I'll go right in. But we're going to talk about what's really important today, and I want to get into this conversation because you, as the director, as the executive director, the CEO of CAC, Community Action Center here in Saginaw, you are now being challenged in some very interesting ways on how do you continue to do the work that you're doing with the threat that every organization that receives federal funding is now experiencing under the duress of this current administration.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
Well, I am I'm alarmed at where we are. The temperature of our country has alarmed me to really start thinking about what's happened to us. We, as a leader of an organization that provides services for people who need them the most, who many times we are their last hope, we are their only hope, we are the referral from agencies who don't have it, We are the hope and the gesture that if I can get this help, maybe I can survive, or maybe we can get through. We are that for the county of Saginaw with help of other organizations. And to think that funding that helps other people could be taken away from us and our community is not only is it alarming, but it's upsetting. I'm outraged, and I'm ready to at least sound the alarm on the things that are happening, because what's happening on the federal level has now impacted us on the ground level where we live every day.
And I want to put some things in perspective. And so those of you who are listening to this conversation and will see this conversation, or maybe you'll catch it in when it's posted in rewind, I want to make sure we understand exactly what's going on. We have just completed the first 100 days of uh, President Trump's, I'm going to respect the office, President Donald Trump's 100 days in his second administration. We are seeing some things that we have never seen before in our nation. We are seeing that a South African who was not elected into office, who has ties, his family to apartheid, who grew up under an apartheid state, which meant that, they still got colored folks over there, and they still have the whole system that was based upon race and oppression come into our system, and then remake some of the things that they were kicked out of South Africa for now being implemented under the auspice of this new administration. We see him being given a chainsaw, and I love the image. You wanted to be the chainsaw hacker, so own it, Mr. Musk. Coming in and slashing government agencies and government dollars, and taking funds and doing all types of things, which I think the courts are continually finding they don't have the authority to do, having to go back and hire people, all of those things. But now this is where the real work begins. This is where we have to really get awake. Shake yourself if you've been falling asleep and you've just been over politics, because this is where it really counts and it really matters. A lot of those things will be litigated. A lot of those things will be turned over because Congress has the right for the purse strings. They control the purse strings, where dollars are being spent as it relates to things that have already been allocated. But now we're coming up on a proposal for a new budget. This is where the Republicans have the ability to determine what happens, who gets funded, where money is spent, and those types of things. This is the legal means by which the government now operates. Congress will come up with a budget based upon the recommendation of their president, and they will most likely pass whatever he puts together because they don't need Democrats to make this happen. And so a proposal has been set forth, a skinny proposal for a skinny budget, and share with us, Hurley, what that means in this new proposal that Congress has to consider.
So a fiscal year for the government and for our agencies in September 30th, 2025. So fiscal year 26 is going to begin, and there's a budget that has to go before Congress to be passed, and this president has to sign it. And if his legislative power is going to be that he wants to have a skinny, robust budget that has taken human services and other things that they consider waste and abuse out of that budget and replace it with other things that he thinks is going to be meaningful or is going to help enhance whatever it is that he wants to do, it's going to eliminate the very things that we used to have, and they will be no more. There are items in this budget that I'm looking at right now that many of our organizations today in our county and around our country, and we got 27 community action agencies around the state, and so many of our major big cities like Grand Rapids and Flint and Detroit and Southfield or anywhere like that, Saginaw, like us, we all receive different funding. And there are large chunks of money that have been taken out of the budget. They've already been eliminated or suggested for elimination. And so things like in the HUD funding, like state rental assistance block grants, assistance for housing for elderly, housing for persons with disability. We're seeing those dollars in the HUD and those HUD funding being eliminated and slashed out. Community development block grant dollars. We talking about CSBG. That's where community action lives. Community action agencies receive funding from the federal government, and those fundings are at risk. We see USDA dollars. We're talking about farmers' dollars being taken away. We're talking about rural development. So if you're riding around right now and you live in Spalding or you live in Byrd, or you happen to be driving through Chesaning or through any of our areas, rural development dollars where those live, those dollars are on the chopping block too. There are multiple places on this budget that if they take the money out and they leave it out, then when it comes time for the budget for the new fiscal year to start, there won't be money there for organizations to draw from, and they would have to shut their doors. They would have to pivot, and those emergency assistance dollars and those special fundings that have been put in place will not be there for the people.
So this is a catastrophic moment that is on the horizon. Should we not do something to make changes to the current situation? I want to say this before we take our first commercial break. This has been an ongoing process. We have had these conversations. There have been alarms going off throughout the community. People were saying that Democrats were fear mongering. I don't consider myself a Democrat. I'm more of an independent. I have leaned in terms of my voting record with the Democratic Party. I was wholly voting with the Democratic Party on this last election because I said that we were fighting for the fabric and the democracy of this great nation. We're going to take a quick commercial break because we're going to see what happens when we don't take those warnings seriously, and we have to deal with the what comes out of it. We're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be back with more of Straight Talk. This is Kareem. We're back with more Straight Talk. I'm here with Hurley Coleman, Executive Director, CEO of CAC, Saginaw Community Action Center. And we've been talking about the impact that some of the actions that have been happening on a federal level are making on Main Street. So our conversation is today the decisions made on Wall Street and Pennsylvania Ave, how they impact what's happening on Main Street, aka what's happening in the hood. So let's have this conversation. So we've been talking with Hurley, and as we talked about this, Hurley, you talked about in a very professional capacity what has been proposed in terms of this very slim budget that the president is proposing. What is on the chopping block for those organizations that receive funding? Let's talk about the organizations in the Saginaw community that are a part of our village. Which ones would be impacted by if this proposal that he has given actually becomes a part of what Congress approves?
All right, I'll start with my senior citizens. To my senior citizens who go to BV and go to different sites to pick up your boxes monthly.
When we talk about boxes, what are we talking
about? Commodity Supplemental Food Program. This is SFP. Those boxes that come when you go to the BV Center and you get those boxes. We have providers that provide those boxes. Other organizations, there are third-party organizations that have those CSFP dollars. We have the TFAP dollars, so those are not in this budget to be cut. And in the same department, the CSFP dollars are. And they were established to help low-income seniors who are over 60 meet their nutritional needs. Well, if this budget passes, CSFP boxes will cease to exist. And they're going to repackage it into another concept called Make America Healthy Again boxes. We don't know what that looks like, but they're talking about a complete slash of that program. That's just our senior citizens. Now let's go to organizations like Salvation Army. Let's go to organizations like United Way, CAC. Let's talk about let's go with Partnership Network if they're getting it. Any of our organizations. Let's talk about Mustard Seed or Underground Railroad or RCO or our shelters that receive money for our homeless population. If this passes, those dollars are in the HUD funding. So those dollars are on the chopping block as well. So we're talking about HUD funding being slashed, and that's going to help. That's going to hinder us. And then there's also organizations that receive funding through Job Corps. Job Corps is a program that is in place, and those Job Corps dollars are going to be gone too, because that's in this budget to be
AmeriCorps, Job Corps.
AmeriCorps, Job Corps. They're in the budget to be taken out. So we're talking about that. You talk about fair housing grants. So if there's fair housing grants that focus on inequities in rentals, inequities in mortgages, and that those kind of some of those live in the legal services of Eastern Michigan. So fair housing grants, there can be opportunities for fair housing to be gone. So whereas you can go to legal services and say, hey, I feel like I've been discriminated against, and I need some help. And legal services will send out a secret person to go out, a secret Santa or a secret shopper to go out and try to do a rent to investigate. Well, those dollars may be gone too. So then we could have more disadvantaged, disenfranchised, and people who have been taken advantage of because those fair housing grants are gone too.
You know, what's interesting, and I'm glad you brought that out, the fair housing, or all of the agencies that put controls, those agencies that make sure that equity is found in the system, that keeps different organizations or systems, administrations honest. Many of those watchdog positions and things have been slashed by this administration. And I don't think that people understand that when you start slashing attorney generals and those individuals who keep the government honest,
Right.
that then creates an atmosphere for people to do what they want to do.
Mhm.
And what most of us don't understand, and I need y'all to understand why we cannot fall asleep at the wheel during this entire process. Many of us just simply think that, oh, I hate politics. This is bigger than politics. So we think that we're just going to wait 4 years and then we'll get back, and then, you know, the next administration will restore things. But what we need to realize is that in 100 days, in less than 100 days, because it was more like 2 weeks, 4 decades of work that leaders have done and marched for and sat in for has been undone with the pen of one individual through an executive order.
Right.
And many of these things, you got to understand what it took to get to those things. Were organizations like in 1965, 65, when Eisenhower came up. TJ has been educating me on this process, the need for organizations such as CAC, which were bringing equity back to the table. Not back to the table, bringing equity to the table for the first time,
Right.
or attempting to do so,
Right.
because we understand what happened in, before the 60s, that there were the things called slavery, things called Jim Crow laws. When the government says, okay, we are freeing all people and they have these rights to pursue excellence and liberty, life, and the pursuit of happiness in this nation, there were states and cities and communities that said, not in our area. So the federal government had to step in with these different programs to ensure that everyone had free access and opportunity to be great in this nation. And as we see, many people didn't think that that was what made America great. So they're talking about going back to when we were great again before these things were taking place. And many of these things are impacting not just the Black community. And Hurley, we got to be honest about that. Let's have that conversation about the breadth of the breadth of which people are being impacted. Because when we talk about these social welfare programs, the first thing that we think is the inner city. We think Black folks. We think Hispanics, because they're the poor people in the nation.
Right.
But the reality of that is what, Hurley?
And the reality of it is in Saginaw County, 18% of the population is in poverty. And that amount is going to go up. That percentage goes up when you start talking about the Alice population. Those are our individuals who are working. They're working their
The
job.
working poor.
The working poor, the asset limited, income constrained, but employed. You are working and you're trying to hold down a job. You're trying to hold down 2 jobs.
Yeah.
You got 3 or 4 children in the home. You're trying to keep food on the table and all of the things that you're going through. You miss a bill. You miss a rent payment. You miss a light bill and you just don't have it. You just don't have the money. And that phone, that phone that you have, that T-Mobile phone or that Verizon phone or that phone that you got from Walmart or that you're trying your best to keep that phone on. So we're talking about working people who are struggling. And think about this. When you don't have it, who are you going to call? You call an organization that has those funds to help you get through your rough patch. And if our community is having rough patches and they don't have a place to go to get those funds, it's going to hit you harder than you expect. And I don't want to think about the alternatives. I don't want to think about what's going to happen when you don't have it and when we don't have it. What's going to happen? Because we already have an exacerbated law enforcement system that does not have enough people on the streets to take care of things. We already have state police that may be pulling out of the city. I don't want to think about what happens when people get desperate.
Well, desperate times often lead to desperate measures. So when we look at this, Hurley, and I think it's important, you brought up something that was very essential. If we're going to put this in real terms, right? People make jokes about Obama phones, those Obama phones, but there's a lot of people in our community that have Obama phones, especially when we talk about seniors. We talk about a lot of young people who have parents that fall below a certain the poverty line because a large portion of our community is below the poverty line. When we look at it, we are below a lot of the national standards as it relates to what is considered healthy financial living here in the city of Saginaw. But we look at that Obama phone, having a free phone and access to wireless service is important because folks just are not doing home phones, right? It allows you to have one phone that you can take with you on the go and have it at home. But if they're taking away other programs and other dollars, now you have to determine, am I going to replace the food that was given to me to supplement that is being denied or looking at being cut from these programs? Or do I have a phone? Do I stay connected to the rest of the world? Or do I eat? Do I pay my prescription bill? Which all of these things, even negotiating those negotiated prices for prescription medicine. When I looked at my grandmother before she passed away and I looked at what her medicines cost, I was blown away. I had a couple doctor's appointments and one hospital stay, and I'm almost at my premium, my deductible amount that I've had to pay for the year. With insurance, a colonoscopy costing an individual with insurance $1,800. And that's because I have my own personal insurance. Everybody does not have government insurance. The state of Michigan insurance, which is the best insurance out there, having been an employee of the state of Michigan, or even the GM insurance. And a lot of those companies are reducing the coverages of these things. So when we talk about our dollars that help those fundamental organizations to be able to help everyday people manage the life that they're living with, it is a very important thing. Let's talk about the types of services that CAC does, because there's a lot of people in our community like, I don't know, they give food boxes, but let's talk about all of the services that you all provide that stand to be in jeopardy of no longer existing.
Well, grateful again for the community service block grant, and I'm gonna say it loud because that is the lifeline of a CAC. CSBG is what we call it in terms of like acronyms, but community service block grant are the dollars that we get that pays our staff. It pays helps to pay our building costs. It pays the specific assistance, which is those dollars that we come in for emergency services, which is one thing that we do. And we use CSBG as a means to help with emergency services. We use water assistance funds to help with arrearages on water payments and even helping with small water plumbing and water repairs. We've got home improvement programs that we have. Thankful for ARPA dollars that came in. Now we have about $250,000 that we're spending now on home repair programs. We've got dollars through MISTA, which is Michigan State Housing Authority, to do housing and home repair programs. And then we've got a very important piece of work that we do with our senior citizens. It's called senior outreach care. And we have outreach care workers that reach out to our seniors and make sure that they're good, that make sure that they can get connected to the services that they need, that they are not alone. And sometimes some of our seniors don't have anybody to turn to, and they don't have anybody, any family to help them out. So our senior citizen care team are like extended family members that they'll reach out to our seniors. So we got classes, aerobic classes, computer classes, urban gardens out there, community gardens that we plant. People can come and pick fruit and fresh produce in the summertime, and we try to run youth programs. And we are a community hub in the city of Saginaw and for the county. We are a community hub, and many organizations attach themselves to us. We are conduits for small grants. We're conduits for fiduciaries for smaller grants. We are the tie. We are the tie that knots things together in our community. And many things don't happen without us knowing it about it, or about us somehow putting ourselves in it with any of our workers or any of our programs.
Okay, now, I want to say this. Y'all know this is Straight Talk, where we give it to you straight, no chaser, no filter. And not only that, but hear me out, y'all. And I'm talking to all of our village members, those who are part of the village. You know what I mean by that. When I look at what's been taking place, Hurley, over the past couple of years, there have already been shortfallings that you all have experienced. And because there have been people who are not in the village who see that things such as affordable housing, and I hope y'all can understand what I'm getting ready to say to you. The buzzword is affordable housing. You hear it all the time. We need affordable housing. We need affordable housing. We need affordable housing. And what that means is that there has to be, because we're not creating any more housing. There's an issue. The land bank is holding a ton of houses out there, but there is a need for housing that people can afford. I think the idea of affordable is undergoing a metamorphosis of some sorts.
Yeah.
Because what we considered affordable before is never going to be affordable moving forward. But there are other agencies or people that were in other entities that have had the ability to help the community, the Black community, the Hispanic community, for a very long time, especially when you're working with organizations that manage around, let's say, $6 billion. But then you get a God conscious when you hear terms like affordable housing, because you know that means that there's going to be huge dollars coming into the community. And so they create an organization that is in direct alignment with the services that you provide, and other smaller organizations such as 1 Week, 1 Street. They come in, look under the hood, and then they come after the dollars that you have. And then we as a community have to be aware and stop trying to be at everybody's table, and to realize that we have to begin to put fail safes around our community, because folks are coming for what you are already doing. And I don't have to say any names. I've already talked about it. But when you tell me 2 weeks before that, why do we have to do anything or give the Black community anything? And then you come into certain churches in our community and say that God has put upon your heart for you to help those communities, you've already been under attack. Now we see those same individuals and their president that they voted in, and I'll be clear about that, now coming in a different form. It's through legislation, and they're doing this skinny budget, which has the ability to impact all of the agencies that you've talked about, thinking that this is another way for them to remove the efforts or to scrub the government away from DE&I. And let's be very clear, that means Black folk. When I hear DE&I, I'm talking about Black folk, because in essence, that has been the target. But the actuality of it is, you know, Sarah, Laura, Mary, Karen, you all should be equally as mad, because you have been the benefactors of both affirmative action and DEI. Not my words, but that's what the data says. But when we look at this, Hurley, and we look at how this impacts our community, what are the things that you see are necessary for our community to do to make sure that you don't lose this funding that's so vital for our people?
So there's a couple of things that I see, Kareem. And I say that the tribe, the village needs to circle the wagons. This is the time to circle the wagons. This is the time to have the conversations needed. It's the time to do what we call in corporate America asset mapping. We need to know who has what. We need to know where it is, and we need to make sure that we can have access to it. We need to be talking about our issues loud and very loud to the people that can make change, and that's talking truth to power. And we need to do that. But at the same time, there is something that we have to do. We have to identify the organizations that are for us and get them to commit to reinvesting into the organizations that are true institutions, that are the true bandwagons for this work. I was like, another thing that also has to happen is there must be a community buy-in, that we all have to be on the same page. And many times we have fought ourselves out of opportunities and squandered away millions of dollars because someone wanted to lead, or you were jealous of another person leading, or you were jealous of this person having that. No, we're at a place now in our community where things are so close to being taken away that if we don't be smart about how we manage and how we move, that everything that we had, we're going to lose it. And so this is not a time to play games, but it's a time to be serious and to work together, truly.
It's interesting that you said that. We were in a meeting and I said that to a group of leaders in the community. I said, if we don't have one voice for what we're doing here, then we will have no voice. We'll have no dollars, nothing. They'll overlook us. The very next day we were in a meeting and they said, listen, we need one voice coming from Saginaw. I've talked with Amos O'Neill. He says, listen, we need one individual or one group or one body to lead the work and everybody to work collectively together.
Mm-hmm.
What you're saying is we have to now realize, put pride aside, because if we don't come together now and see, small minds who have never worked together in unity don't understand the importance and the impact that unity has.
Right.
And so that means that we cannot be led by our emotions or our feelings or what we thought. Pride will destroy the entire village. We've been talking about rebuilding the walls. That means that we have to collectively come together and coalesce around the idea of fighting for the things in our community. You're talking about getting around the barrel, getting around the cart. In the cowboy and Indian movies back in the day, whenever there was attack coming in, they were going through with the wagons.
Mm-hmm.
They would put the people with the guns around the wagon to make sure that they protected it.
Mm-hmm.
How can they, and when I say they, I'm talking about the village, how can we support you in making sure that this skinny budget that impacts RCO and CAC and all of these other individuals that find their funding in these federal dollars, that this doesn't happen? What can we do as a community to support?
I know that there are people listening to me right now that have a family member who has had the services of any of our social service organizations. You have been a recipient, you have been referred, you know somebody that has received services from us, from other organizations. I need you to go to our Facebook page and find the latest blog post that I just put up, and it's going to have a letter that you can send out. It's going to have a calling card that you can send out. It's going to have, we have the website of our Congress representatives for our state that you can go and call and email. We need to be organizing. I'm hoping someone is going to be scheduling a town hall soon. I'm hoping we're going to be having some rallies soon, because we only have a couple of weeks before the next budget comes out. So we're running out of time, but we have a little time, but we have to use this time wisely and go and talk about this. Share your stories, email your stories, tell your stories, videotape your stories, show us how these programs and services have worked. And just like Cory Booker went on to the Senate floor and he filibustered all night for 27 hours to share some stories. He did that, and he shared the stories, but we have to do the same thing. We have to be just that much aggressive to share our stories and tell people how important it is to have these types of programs and services remain in our community.
All right. So an hour goes by so fast, but there is a community forum taking place at CAC May 19th. This is a CAP talk talking about those first 100 days of this new administration. We have to go. We certainly thank you for continually tuning in. Like, tag, and share this conversation with others. Take care of yourself and each other. God bless you. Grace and peace.